Hello everyone, so we are the group 6 and we are going to report the Canadian policing and Cambodian policing system. So first is the Canada policing system. So sa policing system ng Canada is meron silang main responsibilities which are to keep Canadians safe and to enforce the law. Meron pong type of police enforcers in Canada. First is the RCMP, Provincial Police, Municipal Police, First Nations Police. Sa RCMP is ini-enforce nila yung federal laws, serves in all territories in most provinces. Next, sa Provincial Police is nag-operate sila sa Ontario, Quebec, and Newfoundland and Labrador. Next is sa Municipal Police, they serve in most cities and large towns. Last, sa First Nation Police naman is nag-operate sila ng policing for First Nations communities. Yung police force statistics nila ng 2018 is, yung total police officers are 68,500. Police officers per 100,000 people is 185. Next naman is tayo sa history. Sa history ng Canada noong 1873 is, na-found siya originally na Northwest Mounted Rifles. Tapos, pinalitan nila ito ng Northwest Mounted Police. Sa 1904 naman is, ini-add nila yung Royal sa Northwest Mounted Police. Sa 1920 is, nag-rename yung Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Next naman is, sa 1953, yung RCMP, naging full member na siya ng Interpol. Next is 1974. Sa 1974 is yung first na accepted as uniform members are women. Next, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police is popularly known as the Mounties. This was headed by Commissioner. The Commissioner is directed by the Ministry of Public Safety, Canada. These are in WMP, or this is the Northwest Mounted Police, and Royal Northwest Mounted Police had relied on horses for transport for most of their history. Pero habang mas tumatagal, nag-i-improve, nag-switch sila sa automobiles at the time of the merger. It also serves as the local police in all areas outside of Ontario and Quebec that do not have an established local police force, mostly in rural areas. Next is, ito yung kanilang rank classification. First, yung pinakamataas is yung Commissioner, Deputy Commissioner, Assistant Commissioner, Chief Superintendent, Superintendent, Inspector, Corps Sergeant Major, Sergeant Major, Staff Major, Staff Sergeant, Sergeant, Corporal, and Constable. Next is ito naman yung kanilang logo. And yung kanilang insignia. So, the police in Canada have three primary functions, which are crime prevention, investigations, and emergency response. So, sa crime prevention is nagpapatrol sila sa areas by use of foot, car, bike, horse to monitor public spaces, businesses, and homes. Nag-collaborate din sila sa organizations like Neighborhood Watch and Black Parents. Yung Black Parents Boys, ito yung isang organization nila sa Canada para maprotektahan nila yung mga children or youth. And they also ensure safety at protest, special events, and by enforcing traffic laws. Next, sa investigation is nag-investigate sila sa crimes such as theft, fraud, kidnapping, murder, and terrorism. Nagkakandak din sila ng surveillance, they gather evidence, interview witnesses, write reports, and provide court testimony. And last is sa emergency response. So dito is nag-respond sila sa emergencies like pag may na-aksidente or may nangyaring krimen or yung mga natural disasters like typhoon, ganun. Next is, nag-provide din sila ng first aid. Nag-arrest sila ng suspects in direct traffic. Specially trained officers handle dangerous situations like weapon threats, hostage scenarios, and bomb threats. So ito po yung hierarchical structure. Number 1 is federal level. The Federal Police Force, RCMP, is the largest single force in the country. So dito is, sabi ko kanina na sila yung nag-enforce ng federal laws, investigates financial and organized crime, protects national security, and ensures the safety of state officials and foreign dignitaries. So yung RCMP is nakapokus sila sa 8 areas. Number 1 is yung customs and excise. Dito is ini-investigate nila yung smuggling and enforces the Custom Act. Next is sa drug enforcement. Dito tackles drug smuggling, enforces the Controlled Drugs and Substances Act. Next is sa economic crime. Nagpo-focus sila dito sa fraud, organized crime, and technological crimes. Next naman is sa federal policing. So dito is ini-enforce nila yung 286 federal laws across various sectors. Next is sa immigration. Ini-investigate nila yung immigrations and counterfeiting of passports or visas. Next is sa proceeds of crime. I-identify nila dito yung na-seize na criminal assets. And next is criminal intelligence. Nag-gather sila ng information on organized crime and terrorism. Next is international liaison and protective services. Provide security for federal officials and cooperate with global law enforcement agencies. This is the provincial level. Provinces manage public policing, but only Ontario, Quebec, and Newfoundland and Labrador have their own provincial forces. So yung Quebec, Newfoundland, Ontario, and Labrador lang daw yung may provincial forces. So yung kanilang areas of responsibility na kino-cover ay yung mga policing municipalities na hindi na require ng law na mag-maintain ng kanilang police force. Next is nag-respond sila sa municipal police request for special assistance in emergencies, kaya nang sinabi ko kanina. Tapos next is providing traffic control on all 400 series in major highways, including those sections that are in the jurisdiction of municipal police forces. Next is nagpo-provide sila ng investigative services on request to the coroner's office and to other police ministries. Next is nagpo-perform din sila ng other assigned duties as maintaining the provincial firearms registry, providing security and protecting government officials and dignitaries. Next is sa municipal level. Most cities and large towns have their own police force. Jurisdictions in towns or cities funded by each municipality. Sa smaller towns or cities na without municipal funds for their forces use is yung mga dito daw is yung mga municipal force ay yung mga smaller towns, cities na walang municipal funds is gumagamit sila sa Rios Provincial Police or RCMP. Next, sa municipal police force, organized into number divisions that service local community. Divisions din subdivided into special crime squads. Example is sa gang crime unit, robbery squad, homicide squad, and explosives disposal unit. Last is yung First Nations. So, sa First Nations is ginaggovern niya ito yung First Nations Policing Program. So, First Nation is nakikinegotiate sila sa federal and provincial territorial governments to establish policing agreements. So, yung agreements na yun is involved na yung self-administered police services or policing RCMP and other agencies. Sa RCMP provides services to over 600 indigenous communities. Noong 2018, there were 36 self-administered First Nations police services. Examples of First Nations police services are West Manitoba First Nations Police, Tribal Police, Blood Tribe, and next is sa Central Canada, Six Nation Police, Anishinaabe Police, Kanawaki Peacekeepers. And the other specialized forces are Railway Police, Harbor Police, Border Service Police.
Justice system and best practices, so civilian oversight, so independent agency monitoring yung mga galaw ng mga civilian in which they are namomonitor yung mga galaw nila para makita ng mga pulis yung mga ginagawa nila, baka may mga crimes ganun and others. And community-oriented policing, so involving in public programs like neighborhood watch. So sa mga past reporters na discuss naman yung mga yung neighbor watch and the use of technology. So nowadays we have to engage in technology. So yun, gumagamit sila ng body cameras, forensic tools, and data-driven policing methods. Number 4 is the crisis intervention training. So officers trained to handle mental health crisis and de-escalate conflicts. Number 5 is accountability mechanism, police complaints process, and legal oversight. Next one is the challenges and Canadian policing. So racial profiling and systematic racism. So concerns over discriminatory practice in carding and treatment of indigenous community. So sa carding, it means they stop and question an individual in which kahit walang ginagawa is parang hinuhuli na lang nila ng walang dahilan. So mostly is na pinipili nila yung mga indigenous community, which is yung mga black people. Next is the use of force and misconduct, cases of excessive force, and allegations of police corruption. So sometimes yung mga police is, so kagaya dito sa Pilipinas, yung police din merong mga patanga-tangais. So ayun, ganun din ang ginagawa ng ibang police doon. So next, the workplace harassment, so report of sexual harassment and bullying within police organization. And next is the mental health and PTSD. So PTSD means post-traumatic stress disorder. So nakukuha ito sa mga events na kung saan is nakaka-trauma, for example sa mga police, yung mga labanan or gera, ganun. And next is the resource allocation. So budget constraints in rural and underfunded areas. So dito is hindi na ma-manage ng gusto yung mga budgets ng mga police. And illegal activities of police and civilians. So police misconduct, abuse of powers, corruption, and racial discrimination. So here sa abuse of power, so alam naman natin to, pati sa corruption and sa mga racial discriminations, kasi nangyayari din ito sa here in the Philippines. And the civilian crimes, so organized crime, cybercrime, drug trafficking, and the violent offenses. So investigations and accountability, so it means independent review bodies handle police infractions and public complaints. So policing is strategies and tactics. So community policing is strengthening public trust through outreach and local engagement. So dito is yung na-discuss kanina na they conduct programs and neighborhood watch, ano. And predictive policing, so using data analytics to anticipate crime patterns. So it comes from words itself na predictive, so they predict crimes. So ginagawa nila is yung mga records ng mga crimes noon is kinukuha nila para ma-predict nila kung ano yung mga next na crimes na pwedeng mangyari. And the specialized units, so meron yung SWAT, cybercrime divisions, and counter-terrorism teams. And the escalation training, so non-lethal conflict resolution technique. So the escalation training is equip individual which skills to manage and diffuse tense situations, promoting safety and effective communication. Sa legal and regulatory framework naman is meron yung Canadian Criminal Code. So dito nanggaling yung mga laws and police powers. So sa Police Acts, provincial regulations governing police and practices, and public complaints and oversight. So independent bodies handle misconduct cases and relationship with the community. So public safety initiatives, sa public safety initiatives, so traffic safety, yung anti-gang programs and school outreach. Restorative justice, so like here in the Philippines, so the focus sa restorative is focus on rehabilitation over punishment. In the indigenous and minority relations, so addressing historical mistrust and discrimination. So public relations, so Canadian Police prioritize transparency and trust building through community engagement and open communication. So meron silang program dito is Coffee with a Cup, so it promote dialogue between law enforcement and public. So it promotes, so it says it's nakikihalubilo yung mga pulis dito and through the private individuals sa pamamagitan ng pakikipagkwentuhan sa kanila. And dito is nabibili yung trust ng mga community sa Canadian Police. Training and professional development. So Canadian Police College. So advanced training for officers. So dito is meron silang training na sa mga explosive trainings, forensic identification, investigative training, indigenous policing, leadership, and polygraph interviewing. So sa mental health response training naman is handling sensitive situations effectively. So sa Canadian Police they are trained about sa mga includes program like mental health, first aid, so which aims is to improve mental health literacy and provide skills for support. And next one is the cultural competency program, so addressing biases, improving community interaction. So it aims to foster the respectful and exclusive relationship between indigenous and non-indigenous peoples, often addressing historical trauma and promoting reconciliation. So sa crime rate, statistics, and crime indicators. So in 2021, so sa Canada crime rate was 5,375 incident per 100,000 population, which a slight increase in violent crimes compared to previous years. So the crime severity index, which measures the seriousness of crime reported to police, show a national CSI of 73.737. So mostly dito is drug-related offenses also have declined due to decriminalization measures such as cannabis legalization in 2018. However, opioid-related deaths remain a concern. So drug suppression and crime prevention. So strategies, so they include drug education programs like there. So there is drug abuse resistance educations. In schools, specialized sa mga RCMP drug units and harm reductions initiatives such as safe injection sites. Crime prevention programs may also focus on youth mentorship and public awareness campaigns. So sa drug suppression and crime prevention, so yung para lang ito sa yung nakarang seminar natin na buhay, ingatan, drogay, iwasan. And legal and regulatory framework, so laws governing police. So Canadian policing is regulated under the Canadian Criminal Code and Provincial Police Acts. So these laws define police powers, responsibilities, and accountability mechanisms. And oversight bodies like the Civilian Review and Complaints Commission for the RCMP ensure the compliance with ethical standards. And next is the international recognition. So meron silang peacekeeping contributions. So Canadian officer serves in UN missions also. Next is the best practices in policing. So Canadian police strategies are studied globally. Human rights compliance, efforts to balance law enforcement with civil liberties, and Canada is recognized internationally for its contributions to peacekeeping missions through the RCMP's deployment abroad. And Canadian police agencies collaborate with Interpol, Europol, and other international organizations to combat transnational crime.
Next will be the Cambodia policing system. Let's go with the history. And in 1863 to 1883, Cambodia is under the French protectorate, while 1884 until 1945, before the establishment of the Cambodia National Police in 1945, Khmer people with France did the policing to strengthen security and social order. In 1884, Phnom Penh Police Force was fully equipped with arms. In 1885, organization of police in Phnom Penh port to improve the inspection of ships coming through the port. In 1896, promulgation of the law on sanitary police, the law which was used in France since 1882 to 1897. Issuance of regulation of maritime sanitary police. In 1905, Cambodia Maritime Police was established. In 1912, River Police Brigade was established. 1925, establishment of commune patrols or rural police. In 1931, establishment of provincial patrols or provincial police. Number 2, Phnom Penh Battambang Railway Police was established to suppress crime and protect individual property as well as maintain the order along the railway. In 1945, the birth of the Cambodia National Police on May 16, 1945, a decree made by Cambodia King Norodom Sihamoni sitting May 16, 1945. As the birth of the Cambodia National Police, he made the decree out August 8, 2006. 1953, France transferred police institutions to the royal government of Cambodia on August 29, 1953, before gaining full independence on November 9, 1953. It is in charge of the Cambodia National Police and other law enforcement administrations, including police training units, the judicial police, drug units, border police, and prisons. Next will be the selection and training process of Cambodia National Police. Number 1, eligibility criteria. Applicants must meet basic eligibility requirements such as being a Cambodian citizen, being of a certain age of 18 to 25 years old, having a clean criminal record, and meeting educational qualifications, usually completion of high school. Number 2, application submission. Candidates needs to submit their applications to the relevant recruitment office of department within the National Police. This usually includes providing personal information, educational qualifications, and other required documents. Number 3, the written examination. Applicants may be required to take a written examination to assess their knowledge and aptitude in various areas, related to law enforcement, such as general knowledge, language, proficiency, and logical reasoning. Fourth is the physical fitness test. Candidates are typically required to undergo a physical fitness test, which includes assessment of endurance, strength, agility, and overall physical fitness. The fifth is medical examination. Medical examination is conducted to assess the health and physical fitness of applicants. This ensures that candidates are physically fit for the demanding tasks and duties of a police officer. Sixth is the background check. Throughout background check is conducted to verify the applicant's personal, education, and employment history. This includes check criminal records and conducting interviews with referees or acquaintances. The seventh is interview. Shortlisted candidates may be called for an interview to assess their interpersonal skills, communication abilities, problem solving capabilities, and overall suitability for a career in law enforcement. It is training. Successful candidates undergo training at the National Police Academy, where they receive comprehensive training in various aspects of law enforcement, including legal knowledge, police procedures, investigative techniques, and community policing. Cambodia Police deploys 410 police officers in every 100,000 persons. Next will be the rank classification of Cambodia. It starts with staff sergeant, first sergeant, sergeant major, warrant officer, chief warrant officer, second lieutenant, first lieutenant, captain, major, lieutenant colonel, brigadier general, major general, lieutenant general, and lastly is the general. Dito naman sa logo is the center lion represents symbols of strength, courage, and protection. It may cultures represents royalty and power. This likely signifies the police force's role in maintaining order and protecting the Cambodia people. While for the sunburst or whale, the radial lines behind the lion will represents the sun, symbolizing enlightenment, justice, or the ever watchful eye of the police force. The circular shape implies unity and completeness. For outer ring or waves, the swirling outer design represents the continuous flow of protection of the overcharging nature of challenges faced by law enforcement. And the banner or the text, this clearly states the organization represents by the emblem. Khmer script. The small Khmer script undergo the lion likely adds further cultural significance. Contains a motto or significant phrase. Next will be these are the insignia. Next is the functions, maintenance of public order and international security, including restoring peace and stability after a heavy disturbance, counter-terrorism, suppressing prison riot, civil duties including providing security and public peace, investigating and preventing organized crime, terrorism, and other violent groups, protecting state and private property, helping and assisting civilians and other emergency forces in a case of emergency, like natural disaster, civil unrest, and armed conflicts. Its military duties includes preventing and protecting national security, state, property, public peace, and public order, and assisting other security forces in case of emergency, civil unrest, war, repressing riots, reinforcing martial law, and mobilizing, fighting, and apprehending suspects, criminals, terrorists, and other violent groups. Next will be the policing strategies and tactics of Cambodia. Corruption control and police reform. This section highlights efforts to reduce corruption within law enforcement. These efforts include providing professional training, improving accountability mechanism, and fostering international cooperation to increase transparency and integrity. Next is technological advancements. Cambodia's police force is increasingly using technology such as CCTV, data analysis, and digital platforms to improve crime monitoring, prevention, public reporting, and response times. Next is number 3 is anti-drug and trafficking campaigns. Specialized units are combating drug trafficking and human trafficking. They work with regional organizations to address these issues through enhanced border patrols and anti-narcotics operations. Fourth, young engagement programs. Young engagement programs. The police are actively involved in programs aimed at preventing juvenile delinquency. These programs emphasize education, mentorship, and providing positive alternatives to crime. This involves direct engagement in school and community outreach initiatives. Fifth is the domestic violence and victim support. This domestic violence and victim support specialized units are dedicated to protecting victims of domestic violence. They offer counseling, shelter, and police support to address cases of violence, particularly those affecting women and children. Sixth is training and capacity building for police officers. Significant emphasis is placed on improving the professional capabilities of police officers. Training programs cover various areas including human rights, forensic investigation, cybercrime, and handling sensitive cases. Next will be the police structures. The policing system in Cambodia is centralized, operating under the Ministry of Interior. The main body responsible for law enforcement is the Cambodian National Police, which functions under the General Commissariat of National Police. Ministry of Interior. This is a top-level government body that oversees policing in Cambodia. The ministry is responsible for internal security, administration of local government, immigration, and civil registration. It directs the controls the National Police. Cambodia National Police. The National Police is part of a public administration and is headed by a general commissioner who reports directly to the Minister of Interior. The CNP is responsible for enforcing laws, maintaining public order, and conducting criminal investigations. Key department within the National Police. Judicial Police Department handles criminal investigations, work closely with prosecutors, and gather evidence. Public Order Department maintains peace during protest, large gathering, and ensure public safety. Police structures, anti-criminal department deals with organized crime and other serious offenses. Anti-drug department focuses on drug trafficking and enforcement of drug laws. Immigration police manages border security, visas, and residency issues. Cybercrime department handles cyber offenses such as online fraud, hacking, and digital threats. Provincial and municipal police. Cambodia is divided into two provinces, the provinces and municipalities, each having its own police headquarters. These local police forces are technically under the national police, but in practice they often work closely with provincial or municipal governors. Local police are tasked with community level law enforcement, patrol, and minor investigations. The fifth is Gendarmerie, Royal Gendarmerie of Cambodia, a paramilitary force that support the police, especially in rural areas, handles riot control, border protection, and highly level security operations. That's all. Thank you.
So next is the legal and regulatory framework of Cambodia. Yung Cambodian National Police is under the jurisdiction of the Law and Administration of the Ministry of Interior. So particularly sila yung nag-implement ng law sa Cambodia, and next is yung Penal Code, which is the Criminal Code of Cambodia, responsible for investigation and other function of the prosecutors. Next is yung Royal Gendarmerie. Yung Royal Gendarmerie naman ay parang isa itong branch ng Armed Forces of the Cambodia. Next. Models of policing. So yung Cambodian National Police is under centralized policing, which is isa yung nanggagaling yung kanilang sinusunod. Na it is overseen by the Ministry of Interior. Kaya yung National Police nila ay handle ng Ministry of Interior, kaya sila yun yung nagpro-provide ng guidance and policies and coordinates sa mga law enforcements of the country. The National Police is responsible for maintaining law and order, preventing and investigating crimes, and protecting the safety and security of the citizens. Pero sa yung mga local police, which is yung provincial and sa district level, ay yung iba is hindi centralized yung kanilang policing system, pero nanggagaling pa rin sa direksyon ng parang sa regional, ganun yung Cambodian National Police ng locals. Cambodia faces challenges with organized crime, drug trafficking, and corruption. First is yung Cambodian police corruption. So, according sa Global Corruption Barometer of 2013, which is ito yung nagsusurvey na nagsasabing yung police sa Cambodia ay second sa pinaka-corrupt na institution. According to yung report naman nung March by Associated Press, karamihan sa mga pulis ay kumuha sila ng bribery sa both locals and tourists, kahit na minor offenses. Pati rin yung sa mga rape victims. The judiciary posts a hindrance for rape victims. Ibig sabihin nun ay yung mga kaso sa mga rape victims ay hindi gaanong natutunan ng pansin, kaya laging nadidelay. Next is yung several organized crime groups, mafia. These are style groups that are becoming increasingly powerful in Cambodia. Yung una dito is yung Khmer Rouge. Primarily, yung goal ng Khmer Rouge na ito ay for political issues. Pero dahil lumalakas sila na they engage in criminal activities like yung human trafficking, drug smuggling, and extortion. Next naman is yung Chinese triads. Chinese triad groups such as the 14K and San Yi On have established a presence in Cambodia. Pareho din yung criminal activities nila, yung parang trafficking, gambling, ganun, money laundering. Number 3 is yung Vietnamese organized crime. Vietnamese criminal syndicates such as Binh, Zoyen, and Bac Nam have been known to operate in Cambodia. They are involved in activities like drug trafficking, smuggling, and illegal gambling. Next is Russian mafia. Russian organized crime groups, particularly yung involved sa mga baril, ganun, and lalo na yung money laundering, they often collaborated with the local criminal networks to carry their activities. Next is yung Cambodian gangs. Sila naman ay involved sa drug trafficking, gambling, ganun, extortion. And mostly sa urban areas sila nag-ooperate. And they also involved in criminal crimes. Violent crimes, I mean. Next is yung Cambodia faces challenges with organized crime, drug trafficking, and corruption. So, human trafficking is a significant issue in Cambodia, which is the source, transit, and destination country for victims, including men, women, and children. So, nung COVID-19 daw is mas lalong na nagdagan yung rate ng human trafficking or exploitation, ganun. So, yung mga lalaki, sila they are forced for labor trafficking. Yeah, labor trafficking. So, they are forced to work for mainly yung mga agricultural na trabaho, like yung fishing, farming, ganun. Yung mga babae naman is exploited sexually, yung mga prostitute, ganun. And yung mga bata naman, ginagawa sila ay parang nakikinukas yung mga bata para parang yung sila yung nagtitinda sa mga kalsada, ganun, yung nagpapalimos. Deep bondage is common. Yung deep bondage naman is parang yung yung labor is parang forced labor, yung kapalit ng yung to repay your debt is kukuhanin ka para magtrabaho, parang servant, ganun, kapalit ng yung para to repay your debt. Next is Cambodia faces challenges with organized crime and drug trafficking and corruption. Second is yung drugs. So yung Cambodia is one of the key transit and destination for heroin trafficking and with authorities seizing large amounts of illicit drugs despite a decline in demand. So yung Sihanoukville port, this is the largest port of the nation, yung Cambodia. It serves as parang ito yung nagiging daanan ng mga import-export ng mga cocaine, ganun, drugs. And historical connections between high-ranking officials and heroin trade have been reported. So, madaling pumapasok yung mga syndicates, yung nagbibenta ng drugs, ganun, sa ibang bansa, kasi yung mga high-ranking na officials nila ay sila pa yung involved sa mga illegal trading ng mga heroin. Cambodia serves as the transit point for cocaine, yan. Kaya nakikita natin kanina na pati yung sa mga illegal yung mga groups, syndicates, ganun, makikita natin na madali silang makapasok sa Cambodia kasi mahina yung security nila, at kahit yung mga high-ranking officials nila ay pwede nilang kasabot nila sa ganong illegal na activities. Cybercrimes. Number 3, cybercrimes, cryptocurrency. Yung cryptocurrency naman ay parang medium of payment, either digital or virtual. These are operations run by Chinese criminal syndicates using sophisticated online application. Other types of cybercrimes including distributed denial of service attacks. So yung DOS na ito, or yung denial of service, is that they make a network resource unavailable to the intended users. So for example nito is merong sa online may legit na nagbibenta ng parang concert tickets, and then yung DDoS na ito, gagawa sila ng paraan para bilihin lahat yung tickets na yun, pero fake yung mga accounts, kaya na-scam yung parang nagbibenta ng concert tickets. Next, yung criminal justice insecurity. Yung Cambodia's judicial system has been criticized by various organizations for range of issues. Karamihan na dito yung mga corruption, lack of access to information on legal rights, mahina yung pag-enforce nila ng mga law, and lack of civil justice. Kaya maraming kaso ang hindi ganong nabibigyan ng justice sa Cambodia dahil mahina yung pag-process nila ng kanilang civil justice. Pati na rin lalo kaya yung mga police is that kahit centralized sila, hindi nila ganong tinutupad yung mga binibigay sa kanilang task, ganun. So the judiciary is widely regarded as corrupt. So yun, corruption, number 1. With judges facilitating unlawful charges against activities and journalists on behalf of ruling the party. So pati yung mga judge nila is parang pera yung hinahabol sa mga parang yung pera yung kanilang, kahit sa mga activists and journalists is that nagsusolicit sila ng pera para gawin yung kanilang trabaho. Shortcomings in the detention system has been identified, which overcrowding and underfunding in jails, and thousands of Cambodians detained without trial in so-called drug rehabilitation center. So dito na naman is makikita natin na kahit yung walang kasalanan, dahil sa weak yung kanilang, mahina yung kanilang judicial system, marami yung mga detained na tao na walang kasalanan ang pinupuntas, lalo na sa mga drug rehabilitation centers. Last is the internal recognition. Cambodia's police force has received international attention primarily through its participation in peacemaking missions in its ongoing reform efforts. So kahit papano na marami yung mga illegal and negative na reviews sa Cambodian police force, ay tinutuloy pa rin nila yung participating peacekeeping missions and ongoing reform efforts. So kahit pa paano ay they are involved in missions for peacekeeping, and they receive international recognition for their role maintaining security and post-conflict. Cambodia has been a member of Interpol since 1956 and joined ASEAN-Pol in 2000. These members allow Cambodia to collaborate internationally on transnational crimes such as human trafficking, drug smuggling, and terrorism. Cambodian police have participated in international training programs to improve their capacity to address global security and challenges. That's all. Thank you.